All right, welcome back, Power Pellet Podcast. Today is June 11th, 2014, Wednesday. Continuing the E3 special podcast that we bringing to y'all. Today we're going to cover the Sony PlayStation press conference. We all pretty much caught up on what Sony had to say with the conference and all the different games that they showed. This is your co-host, Davench. I'm here with my brother, AkimboMerc. What's up?
Well, what's up, Davench? I don't want to do the show today, man.
Oh no, we got to do the show today.
I can't do the show today, man. I have a tattoo removed earlier today. I no longer exclusively belong to Sony.
Woo! Oh man.
I even looked at some of the Xbox, Microsoft tattoos, dog. Jay, I don't want to do the show, dog. Not after we did the Microsoft show yesterday, Jay. I can't.
And when we covered it yesterday, and we kind of came to the end and the conclusion, and it was like, okay, well, what do you give Microsoft's press conference?
I don't want to talk about it.
It was an A. So now today, now we got to see.
The show. I don't want to do the show. This is not going to end well. That's all I have to say. This show will not end well. If this was the regular podcast, this entire show might be a rant without a cool down.
Yeah, well, we're gonna keep it in this normal format for the E3 special. We just gonna go over the games.
You doing the show by yourself. And I refuse to do the show.
And we go pretty much just talk about the games that we saw, and then we'll wrap up the conference as a whole.
I'm not doing the show. Jay, listen, man. This was terrible. We're gonna do our thing. We're gonna review it. But I gotta start off by saying, give me a 2-minute rant. This was horrible. I'm looking at some of my notes I took here, and I got notes that say boring, says technical issues, that says this was more about your studios more than it was about the games. I heard the word exclusive 1,000 times. Exclusive to PlayStation 4. I heard this was terrible.
Microsoft did the only on Xbox.
They did.
They did that about Sony, 5. They did it about 5 times. That's the draw. That's what people want to hear.
I'm gonna tell you.
Especially if you're a fanboy. So as a fanboy, you didn't like the exclusive.
As a fanboy, this is what I saw Sony do. Sony walked onto the stage holding their nuts. Right. they pants and shit was sagging. You know what I'm saying? They had bang, the little Sony t-shirt on. They was popping their little t-shirt to everybody like, we Sony fool. And it was embarrassing. This press conference to me was embarrassing as a fan of Sony. I think Sony will look back on this and say that this was a dud of a conference.
Ugh.
This was arrogant. This was the exact opposite of Microsoft. This was such an arrogant, pompous conference that probably about an hour or so into it, I wanted to stop. And for my listeners, is the only reason that I pushed through this. And I knew, you know what? And you know what made it even worse, Jay? They made you sit through this whole fiasco and then showed you the best games last. I'm very disappointed. So like I said,
the pacing was off, right?
The pacing was off. Man, there was so many things off about this. So let's talk about the sound. The sound started off wrong. Like some of the sound was fading in and out on the guys I was presenting. But even the graphics of the trailers they were showing looked terrible.
Now, where did you watch the press conference? Because I watched it on YouTube.
I watched it on GameSpot. They had the whole thing.
Okay.
But I don't think it was a matter of where video was being played. As when they showed the trailers, I was disappointed in the PlayStation 4's graphics.
For what? Let's get to that then. Let's start. Let's go game by game like we did with Xbox. We keep it fair.
Okay. So they opened up with this weird presentation of this whole. Let me show you the game before I give you the name thing was throwing me off. Now Xbox did this yesterday too, but they didn't drag it out. They hit you with the name of the game a little faster than I think Sony did. So Sony started off with Destiny. And I'm watching this, and I'm sitting back, and I'm like, okay, what is this game? All right, okay, Halo? This got to be Halo. Is Halo coming to PlayStation? And when they finished, it was Destiny. Now, I know everybody's excited about Destiny. Bungie, who used to be exclusive to Microsoft, you know what I'm saying? They're now making games, I think, for both systems, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And their flagship game, or their first game coming out, is going to be Destiny. Let me tell you something. This ain't nothing but Halo with a different suit on. That's all this is. I'm disappointed.
Well, what Destiny and Bungie, what Bungie Activision did was they decided not to really show anything at the conferences. And from my understanding, what people are saying is they chose not to do that because it's the type of game where I show it to you and it's not gonna spark that much interest. I think they realized that. And what I was picking up on Twitter was people actually getting their hands on the game, getting an extended play, 30 minutes, this, that, and the other, and everybody was coming back happy. I didn't see anything negative. I tried to look and find and just, Destiny. Yeah, I did try to find, just anything negative about Destiny that people were picking up on, and nobody was coming back with anything. So I just think a game like that is a hard game to kind of just say, to give people a reason to like, especially coming off the fact that it does remind you so much of Halo.
And not only that, now that we've done the Xbox conference and the Halo 5 Master Chief Collection coming out, this game is going to probably drown. I'm just going to put that out there, man. Okay, well, it's not going to drown. It's going to have life because it's on the PlayStation 4, but in comparison to the Master Chief Collection that's coming out, this game is not going to do well at all, in my opinion. Now, they do have the beta coming out next month. The beta comes out July 17th. That's something to look for. But other than that, I left my
Are you going to
initial...
download the beta? It's PS3, PS4, and Xbox.
Yeah, I'll check it out. But
access.
I lost, excuse me, everybody. I felt like this was blah. This is the blah to me. That's what I wrote down. BLAH. Blah, blah.
So let's put it in the category of the conference representation of the game wasn't good.
That's one way of looking at it. If you went out and found some other stuff that represented this game better, yes.
The hands-on experience from what everybody is saying.
Okay. But if I could separate this from Sony's failure, of their conference failure, and just look at Destiny, the game itself, I'm not excited about it. It looked just like Halo with different suits.
And remember how I felt about Watch Dogs a couple weeks ago? I was like, I'm not seeing it, dog. There's nothing about Watch Dogs I'm not seeing. And then reviews, people putting their hands on it, and everybody's not saying anything bad about it, and it's all good stuff. So for me, I felt the same about Destiny. I'm like, they're not showing. They showing, okay, you got 3 different classes, and you doing this. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's not refreshing. So now it might be a game because I trust who it's coming from, where I just got to get my hands on it and judge for myself. Okay,
well, let me ask you this: with the conference happening, all these new games being announced and coming out at various times, do you feel like I'm excited for one, but I also feel a little bit overwhelmed at all the games that are coming out? And
it's definitely got that overstimulated feeling.
It does, and that's what kind of worried me about Destiny is like, where do you fit with all this new product coming out, man? You didn't pop. You wasn't something excited. I didn't leave this. I didn't feel like this was a must-have for me going forward. This was not a buy. This was not even a rental. This was a buy used.
For me, Destiny is that replacement of Borderlands for me. So I'm reserving judgment. I'm gonna check the beta out. That's gonna be the first real test, and then we have to go from there.
All right. Well, the next exciting thing that PlayStation did at this exciting conference was they announced the white PlayStation 4. Ooh.
And to me, when I see something like that, that doesn't spark my interest because there are plenty, and I've already found one that I'm gonna pick up, and it's only $40. Plenty of skins that you can get online for your system.
Exactly. So probably a lot more options.
Right. Yeah. But now the white controller, that might be hot. The white controller looked interesting.
I had a white controller before. I mean, really, it's just a different skin. But now here's what they tried to do with it, though. They say September 9th, you can get this new white PlayStation 4. Great. We're going to bundle it with Destiny. Oh, cool. So they got a bundle Destiny coming out where you get the PlayStation 4, the white box. You get it's 500 gigabytes. You get 30 PS Plus voucher points or coupons or whatever it is. And so they're trying to push it that way. But again, great for people who are looking for it. If you already own a PlayStation 4, you weren't excited about this announcement.
Nah, and it's not for the people that own it. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, if by that time I couldn't even imagine like how come like September, November, if I'm still on the fence about which system to get. Okay, do I get Halo or do I get Destiny? That's weird now that that's starting to come up. It's
Right.
weird because then it's almost if you had to choose between Call of Duty and Battlefield. Now, real quick, not to get off subject, but I found this out. The company that is the Sledgehammer and then the team that's making Battlefield Hardline, those actually were one development company that got split in two. So it's weird to see these two companies making these two different games. So you kind of got the same thing now with 343 versus Destiny come fall.
So we can touch on it later, but is Hardline a new game itself? Is not a DLC for the Battlefield?
Hardline is its own standalone product. Cops versus Rivals.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, see, and that's how I felt when I saw it. I was like, it looks interesting. It looks like everything about it looks Battlefield-esque, which of course, it's Battlefield. And then it's Hardline. So then for me, as somebody who I'm not a big Battlefield fan, so when I look at that game, I instantly saw Payday. And then I saw, okay, are they just taking the part that everybody was thirsty for with the Grand Theft Auto series and they just made it, a big game? But obviously a game like this they've been working on for at least almost 2 years. So it's not new, but it wasn't interesting to me. As a non-Battlefield person, it wasn't interesting to me.
It's funny because I've been craving for a cops and robber game. I didn't see it coming on the Battlefield platform, which I think I love Battlefield. If you know me, I love Battlefield. But I gotta say, I'm kind of on the fence, man. This to me looked like a DLC, and I think it would have been better served as just being a DLC. So,
well, they're not showing a lot about it though, right? You're not seeing different situations and all of that stuff. So,
and again, the trailer that PlayStation showed at their conference was nothing compared to some of the gameplay I've seen in other places for this particular game. So after the next game they showed was The Order 1886.
Wow.
No.
Yes. Dude, that game looks so good. And then the idea that it's steampunk and you got all these different weapons, and then it's not like your average game. I could take this guy down because I got enough bullets. Like, dude was giving it to that guy in the trailer, and it was just kind of stringing you along through like this weird movie moment. And it just, between when it was cutting through the cutscenes and then real gameplay, it didn't take you out of the experience. It just kept flowing through. I like that whole transition of how the trailer was done and made. I loved it, dude. And the idea that, okay, they realized they got to put a little more time and effort into the game, by all means, if anything, where it's going to just keep me attached to what it's supposed to do, I'm in. I like it. It looked real good to me. I'm in.
Okay, so you're buying this game. Oh, hesitation! Dead air! I heard the dead air.
I'm going to be honest. Yeah, it is hesitation because it's a ton of other games coming out around that time. Well, we don't know what time because it's pushed back to 2015, but that's good, right? I mean, so now next year you got this pushback, you got Batman, and there was one other game offhand that I can't think of that comes out in February, but give it time, give it a chance. It's a different game. Name one game that you've seen do this outside of Resident Evil. Okay,
because that's what I thought this was. When it first popped onto the screen, I thought this was a new Resident Evil, and then I saw the zombie transform into some type of werewolf zombie.
Oh man!
Oh my god! I was like,
this is so good.
This is terrible.
But are you a big zombie guy though?
Walking Dead, I love the show.
We're talking games, games.
But let's just talk about zombies for a second. The world is saturated with zombies, man. I've been hit over the head with it. And so as far as this game,
I avoid all of that.
Oh, then see, how can you avoid it? It's everywhere.
Because of that reason. It's oversaturated. So I avoid it all. So when I see in this game, the time that it's in, and just the frame and just the theme and everything about it worked for me.
I think the danger of these press conferences is that you can actually have a bad trailer and give a bad initial showing of your product. And for me, I'm not quick to go off first appearances, but that's something that's the only thing I have to work with right now as far as me reviewing the conference itself. So our first appearance for this was in the category of blah for me because, again, I wasn't impressed with the zombie werewolf. I wasn't sure if this was Resident Evil or not. And then I don't know. I wasn't looking. This is not my genre. So I'm
there
we
go.
I'm gonna step back from
that.
it. This is not my genre.
You gotta kind of separate yourself.
But
is it for me or isn't?
But compared to The Last of Us, which I love, this game pales in comparison. So
see, I didn't have that excitement for The Last of Us as I do for The Order. Because how many times have we seen games where it's after this big major event, this is what happens in this world, and then they got to survive. That to me was oversaturated. I don't look at The Order and say this is a zombie type blah blah game. What if it is like a Frankensteinish werewolfish? It's not a zombie game. Like these are actual creatures, and they have the ability to morph themselves into the nastier side of them.
Okay, now see if that's the storyline, then I could be a little bit more excited about it. But right now, I just don't feel like it's something I'm looking forward to. The next game they showed was Entwined, and this is the game where the basis of the game is you have these two souls who are in love, but they can't be together. So the way the game plays, you're kind of floating through this whimsical, dreamlike world, controlling one character with the left analog stick and the other character with the right analog stick, and you got to kind of weave in and out of these this dreamlike world, man. It's kind of weird, but I like the creativity in the gameplay itself.
Yeah, now, I like the direction it was going.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna tell you something that impressed me about this, or that didn't. Let me tell you what didn't impress me first. Of course, if you complete all the obstacles and get to the end of the level, you turn into, wait for it, a dragon. Come on, man. A dragon? Come on. So you got to be a little bit more creative than a dragon. Again, because you heard about my complaints for that. But it's only $10. It's available now on the PlayStation 4. That, to me, is a big selling point. I think for $10, people will spend money just to have this experience. Like I said, it's creative. It's unique other than turning into a dragon in the end. Looks like there's a lot of different boards that you can play. And for $10, I think it's worth the money to go out and buy this game. If this would be a buy for me, but I think my wife would play it. I think my son would play it. I think I can enjoy watching them play this game.
Does it look like it gets boring though?
Again, $10 price point.
That's a hard.
No.
When I watched everything about it, just on the video alone itself, it was a hard sell for me.
Well, this was almost a puzzle with the controller in that it's going to be hard to control both of those creatures to go in separate directions with your analog sticks. That's a challenge for a lot of people.
They did that with that other arcade game with the two brothers where you have to control.
Right.
And I like that. That was fun. Once you got used to, realizing that you can use both your hands at the same time, it's like, oh, that's cool. So
Sucker Punch was the next studio to show. Again, Sony, they kind of put the studio out there first and then showed a couple of games that the studio has done in the past and games that they got coming out in the future. Now, if you're a big person who follows studios, this was exciting for you. I don't follow studios. I don't follow developers per se. I follow games. I'm into the game. I'm into the characters. I'm into the story. I almost could say I care less who's actually making it and producing it to an extent. You know what I'm saying? Some of the big names I understand. But anyway, Sucker Punch, this game is called First Light, and it looked just like infamous Second Son. Now, here's what was cool about it. And I got to go back and look at this. It's coming out August 14th. It's a DLC for the Second Son, but you don't need the Second Son to play it.
I think we're going to start seeing a lot of that too, right?
Weird. That was weirdly interesting to me.
The continuation of a story without you having to make that big buy-in purchase. We're just going to give you a small little chunk of this world that already exists, but it's with a different character and a different motive.
Didn't Rockstar do this with Red Dead Redemption? The
zombies.
The zombie version, right?
Yeah.
They did that where you could just buy it as a standalone.
Yeah.
So the game looked pretty cool. Of course, my son is a big Sucker Punch fan. And he loves Infamous, so that's coming out. After that, I think this was one of the highlights of their show, Little Big Planet 3. And they introduced some new characters to this game, man. This is the first time that Little Big Planet is going to be on PlayStation 4. Of course, I mean, it hasn't been out that long. But they came out and they did some things huge. Sort of like what we seen yesterday with a lot of the games Microsoft previewed. This is a 4-player co-op. And it's really a co-op. You really have to work together to get past some of these levels that the players that they had created. Now, let me give you the name to it. Odd Sock. This is the dog-like Sock character. He can wall jump. He's faster than Sackboy. Then there's Toggle. He's kind of a big, heavy sack, but he can also shrink and become a very tiny sack.
Listen to what you're saying. He's a big. It's funny, right? And everything about that character too. When they were kind of showing him and just his mannerisms and everything, I was like, "Oh man, that's fun."
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, my wife and my son were watching this with me, man. They just smiled throughout the entire thing. So this is a game for them. This is something that I think when Sony came out, they never really had that Super Mario type game. Even on the 2 and the 3, they needed something that kids could play, man. I remember struggling to find stuff for my kids to play. And then they came out with Little Big Planet, which brings me to my next point. So Little Big Planet 1 came out, Little Big Planet 2 came out. And in the conference, they talked about there being 8.7 million levels.
That's
a lot.
That is.
That's hot.
Whether good or bad, right? It's just the idea that you would never get the same thing twice.
Well, I think there is some bad with it. And this is the bad I ran into. They weren't able to control the material on all these levels.
Oh, so the content,
right. So we ran into some
people.
very racist content.
Yeah.
In the game.
That's sad. That's unfortunate.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. And to the point where I had to stop my kid from playing it because I just wasn't able to monitor it all the time. And again, it was something where you gave him the controller and you felt good about him playing with this little puppet. Now all of a sudden, he's walking into some rooms that's having to deal with all type of negativity and racism and stuff like that. But anyway, the last character they introduced was a bird. His name was Swoop. And of course, the bird can fly and it can pick you up and help you through some of the levels. Now, here's something cool about these 8.7 million levels. They are all available in Little Big Planet 3.
Wasn't that fan? Amazing. That was fan service, right? That was them saying thank you and to just continue that hard work you put in.
Yes.
Take it HD because they said everything will be up to res and take it to the next gen system. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, and it's coming out in November, so right around Christmas time, this is going to be a huge seller for the PlayStation 4. So the next game after that was, here we go again, a zombie game. This was Bloodborne.
Now, I thought Bloodborne is kind of like, Bloodborne was kind of the successor to Demon Souls, kind of like that spiritual successor that everybody keeps saying to Demon Souls. And I'm not
to Dark Souls, right?
Was it Demon Souls? Because that was the first one, Dark Souls. Because I think it's made by the same guy who made Demon Souls, who was the director for Demon Souls. I had to look more into it, but
okay, so maybe these are demons. So maybe we should just call them the undead or the dark. Or again, I saw half eaten, half human, half bloody. First thing that came to mind was zombies again. But that's all I had to say about Bloodborne. I'm not interested in it. It didn't look interesting to me at all.
I just to see it. You were right. It's they made the first Dark Souls, and now they're making this game. It used to be called Project Beast, and now it's Bloodborne. I mean, I don't get into the games, but it's got a big following, and people like it.
Does.
It looked interesting, but not my cup of tea.
Yeah, mine either. So now at the Little Big Planet, man, the next big splash I think they made was Far Cry 4. But I was disappointed.
I didn't get to finish Far Cry 3. I wanted to. I didn't get to finish it to see this, and kind of I liked when he was on the car and then he drove past and he started shooting at the guys. He called in his buddy, which they were kind of showing the multiplayer aspect of it, and his buddy started shooting and the elephants were running and the one elephant hit the car exploded. They showed the dude also he was driving on like a cliff and it was like a go-kart type of thing. But when he got close to the truck, he jumped in the truck and did couple quick animations and took over the truck. I thought that was cool. They made it seamless. The villain in the game, I like what he did in the trailer too. It just made him real. It was almost kind of like it had like a Joker feel to it. Like he was kind of that type of personality with it. And
well, let me ask you this: you played Far Cry 3, and that's on my list of games
for a little bit. I didn't get to play that much.
Was it all third? I mean, was it all first person, or could you switch the camera?
Far Cry is first person. It's always been a first person game. And
that was the first thing that I saw. The game was pretty, but the point of view and the things you were doing with the point of view, I just instantly hated it. I was like, I can't see myself.
In the third one.
Oh, and I think it's for some people. For me, this is not for me, and it may be for some first person players. But I couldn't see my body in this immense world that's beautiful. I need to see where I am in it. So give me that option where I can go back and forth between first and third, and then this game is a seller to me because this game did something that's revolutionary for next gen and current gen, or PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, and I love it. Now, as much as I didn't care for the game, I love the fact that if you own the game on PlayStation 4, you can invite your PlayStation 3 friends to play this game, even if they don't own it. I'm going to say that again.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that again.
Because I thought you had to have the same system.
You don't. So anybody that's on the PlayStation Network can play this game with you, and they don't have to own the game.
Is that the power of the Gaikai network that's using the PlayStation Now? You think you have to have PlayStation Now service to do that? I don't understand how they're going to pull that off. To me,
I don't know how they're going to pull it off. They said they was doing it. I think that's revolutionary. I think this keeps the PlayStation 3 in people's houses a little bit longer. I think it's a nod back to your fans who had the PlayStation 3 before. I think it's revolutionary. I hope a lot of other games kind of institute this some way into their gameplay. Now, I don't know about not having to own the game. I think that's kind of cheating, you're cheating the developer. But I do like the idea that I get to experience, and maybe that makes me run out and buy the game.
It had to be the developer's idea, though.
Yeah, but I think it's revolutionary as far as gaming, where you have the cross-platform. Because I've always wanted to say, man, wouldn't it be cool if Xbox players could play against PlayStation 3 players in Call of Duty? You know what I'm saying? That would be epic, because you used to have these fanboys going at each other about the games. I'm like, man, we should. If somebody could come up with a medium where these two people can meet and fight against each other, I would love it. So
the computer.
Yeah, well, what is that?
But just real quick, my opinion on Far Cry 4. I don't mind the first person perspective. To me, that never made a difference. Personally, I was never a big fan of the third person perspective in video games. I was always a first person guy. So it doesn't, and to know that that's where Far Cry comes from anyway, it didn't, when I played it in the third one, it didn't bother me. I just never had to, I felt overwhelmed with also the amount of games that I was still trying to play besides Far Cry 3. So I never had a chance to actually go back to it and finish it.
Okay. All right. So this is where the conference, to me, that was already having some technical issues with their sound, and they were already talking about how all the exclusive they had, but in an arrogant way. It was just disappointing. This is where it took a big turn, and it wasn't for the better. It does get better towards the end for people who plan on watching it, but this is where it kind of dips for me. And I was kind of at that point where I was watching the clock, and I didn't see myself doing that with the Microsoft conference. So they brought out the speaker, and I missed getting his name, but he introduced this thing where they were reading the letters from the fans, what the fans wanted. They picked out a couple of letters. Read them, and then with doing that, they kind of answered the fans' request by showing the game. The first game they showed was Dead Island 2. Again, it had to do with zombies. The next thing they showed was looking at my notes here. Man, bear with me because I got notes on top of notes.
It felt weird, right? It felt like they didn't have a clear direction of what they wanted to do for the press conference.
Right. It felt cheesy. So somewhere in there, they stuck in The Last of Us. And they showed a Diablo 3 dungeon that had the tickers from The Last of Us. Okay, I think that's great. They showed you Battlefield Hardline. we talked about that already. Cops and robbers, and some of the things you can do with that. To me, it's just Battlefield, but instead of soldiers, you got cops and you got robbers. So that's going to be pretty interesting. They went on to talk about Disney Infinity too, some of the Avenger characters you can have.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, but then they had a technical issue after that.
What was the technical issue? Because I didn't see it.
They went on to the next trailer to show it, and when that trailer started, the sound from the Avengers.
The Hawk, when the Hawk roared across the
Hawk smash.
Yeah.
I just thought it's not a big deal, but
that could be human error, man. Somebody else could have goofed that up.
Dude, it stood out because before that they were having problems with mics and with some of the sound. That's why it stood out to me.
Okay.
So, right. Again, then they went with introducing more studios. They talked about Paradox Studios. They got a game coming out called Magica 2. Go check it out. Got another game coming out called Grim Fandango, which I think was a throwback to some of the PS1 or 2.
It got a huge pop in the crowd, too.
It did. The crowd loved it. I've never heard of the game. So they went to the next studio, Devolver, who showed all these 8-bit looking games, blah, 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 blah.
That looked hot.
No, come on!
Yes. Dude, you are missing out. You are missing out. You have to open your palette up. It can't be the big budget games all the time. You missing out on all of these.
I played those games already. I played those games already, Jay.
When?
When I was 8.
Nah, these are not the same games. No, they're not. Play the games first and then say you don't like them. I'm telling you.
Well,
you're missing out.
You're not gonna sell me on the games with the trailers that they showed me, man. I'm not interested in playing those type of games. Like, I won't even go near Minecraft. As much good things I hear about Minecraft, I don't want to play that game.
But the games that they're showing, Minecraft is Legos with a controller in your hand. I'm talking about these are a lot of these games. Hotline Miami, the bro game. I can't think of it. These are all action games. You got to play.
But they're 8-bit games.
It don't matter. Games. A game is a game. Does. You were the same person who would tell me. Graphics do not matter. Well, how does the game? Is the game fun? Yes or no? Is the
I
game
don't know who
fun?
This person you're talking about.
Graphics don't matter. Graphics don't matter.
No,
I don't need super high turbo HD. It's about the game experience.
If I said graphics don't matter, I probably said it after we got out of the PlayStation 2 generation into the Xboxes and the PlayStation 3. At that point, where there was a comparison between Xbox and PlayStation 3 graphics, it did not matter. Now you're talking about going back 1,000 generations to PlayStation 8. I'm done.
You're missing out on
good.
You gonna make me go and bring a list of games that got super high ratings that you just looked and glanced and missed out on those experiences.
Good.
Trust me, you're missing out. Don't because they 2D and they it don't matter. A game is a game. I'm telling you, dude, you're missing out. You're missing out. You're missing out. That's it.
You just
missing out.
All right, let's move on. So, all right, at this point, I was half asleep in the conference, man, and I'm watching them. Now, something perked me up. This game kept me. It nudged me a little bit, and I sat back and I said, "This is beautiful." And this was Giant Squid. Giant Squid is made by the same people who made the game Journey, where I think you're like a flower or something, and you're floating through this world. Giant Squid.
Remember that game? Let me Google.
You don't remember Giant Squid?
No, I thought you was gonna say No Man's Sky, and I was gonna start clapping.
Did I skip that? No, I didn't get to it yet. I'm gonna touch on No Man's Sky, but Giant Squid looked good because you're exploring this underwater world. And again, to me, that's
snoring. That's where I fell asleep. Yep.
What?
I don't care about no scuba diver diving in the and the ambiance of the game, and that put me to sleep.
You know, sometimes I look at the cover for this podcast and think it's perfect because we are taking shots at each other, dude. I love this game.
Nope, boy.
I love this game. The sharks, the world, it was unique. What other game did you get to explore the underground?
Not for me. Not for me.
Wow.
Mm-mm.
All right.
When I saw that game reminded me of Entwine. Both of those games got those melodramatic feelings that I just didn't like. It just seemed too somber and like depressing. I was like, nah, no thank you.
Okay. All right. So you need a lot of stuff flashing in your face and a lot of explosions.
8-bit games with plenty of explosions. Yes.
Oh my God. 8-bit. Oh my gosh. All right. Let's move forward. So the next game was No Man's Sky.
Amazing. That
I'm
game
gonna
is
tell you.
amazing, dude.
Oh my God. We have such a different
That
taste.
game looks so good.
All right. So let me tell the users about the game first. All right. So
Oh
if
man.
you ever been into the bookstore and you've seen some of these old school science fiction movies, and you look at some of the covers, I mean science fiction stories, and you look at some of the covers, and they got these weird uh, alien space creatures and these weird planets and these weird spaceships and stuff like that. Well, basically what they did was they took all that and they made a game and they called it No Man's Sky. My first impression of this game was, I'm gonna give you my full impression, but my first impression was, okay, this is like a dream that was starting to suck.
Oh man.
And then this is a dream that when you wake up, you're kind of like, good Lord, I'm glad I woke up for that dream. I can't wait to get to work, because that's how bad this game was looking at first.
Oh my God.
Well, but hold on. Then the guy came out to talk about the game, and he said, we're indie studio. And the minute he said he was an indie studio, I stood up and clapped for him. I turned off my hate button. I quit hating for him.
It's
I
4 guys making this game, dude.
I know, exactly. So I stepped back and I listened to what he had to say, and I gave this game a chance. And I said, okay, tell me something cool about this game, sir. He said, not a problem, AkimboMerc. He says, listen, every player starts on their own planet. Every player.
I'm watching the trailer right now. This game is so good.
Yeah. So that got me going. I was like, all right. He said, everybody will have a unique experience. And then I said, well, okay, you got me. All right, what else? He said, the universe itself is infinite. Even we do not know everything that's in it.
How amazing is that?
I said, ooh.
How amazing is that?
All right, so I was sold. I was sold after he told me that, because I love games where I get to explore. Now, here was something that's cool. You're on this planet, and it's prehistoric, and you got dinosaurs, and they're chasing each other and stuff like that. And then this dude hops into the spaceship.
Yes.
that blasts us off. Now the spaceship looks like it could have been pulled right out of Battlestar Galactica, and it blasts off into space. And when he gets into space, he gets into a space battle.
It's a fight right there waiting on him.
Just warped in.
Waiting on this dude. I'm telling you. And even the video that they showed from last year's E3, it was like, damn, this is next gen. This is what you want. That seamless transition experience.
So I went from this being a dream that I thought sucked to being the coolest dream I ever had.
Yep.
And I didn't want to wake up. I literally want to play this game now. I want my hands on this game now. I don't want to wait. I need to have it in my life.
Looking at it, you know what this game, it almost feels like, could you imagine if this was what Star Fox could be like? If
you took the words out of my mouth. That's what I first thought. I said, is this Star Fox? Because that's what it felt like. It felt like Star Fox. Yeah, the game's gorgeous. The gameplay looks amazing. The fact that it's infinite, the fact that you have all these planets, and every person starts on their own planet. I think this game is amazing.
And it's so simple. It's nothing. They're not trying to do a lot. It's just simple.
And I'm gonna need them to probably add a little bit more detail. Tell me about my character. Tell me about why I'm doing this, and then I'll probably be 100% sold. Right now, I'm 99.9% sold. So check it out. The game is called No Man's Sky. I went from hating it to loving it. I think it's going to be perfect if you're an explorer of science fiction like myself. I love science fiction, so this is right up my alley. Cool. So then, good old Sean Layden came out.
Look, we ain't gonna spend too much time on.
No, we're not. I'm gonna breeze through everything. No, wait. Before Sean came out, I apologize, listeners. PlayStation actually took a dig at Xbox when they introduced their camera. And the man specifically said, as a choice. And I'm sitting here like, dude, this is where I felt like PlayStation was pounding his chest, grabbing his ball sack, and was kind of showing off and being arrogant, there was no reason at this point to continue attacking Microsoft, man. I just thought that was off base. I thought it was ridiculous. I felt like it was a scummy dig that was just unnecessary.
Now think about this, right? That all of the greatest companies never show their competitors in their commercials.
All of the greatest companies never show their competitors in the commercial. What about Coke and Pepsi? They go at it.
Coke don't never. Has Coke showed Pepsi in their commercials?
What about
Pepsi show Coke? Because Pepsi know who their biggest competitor is, but Coke shows Coke.
So maybe it's I think you've had some companies kind of go at each other in the past, but as far as video games, as far as what Sony did here, I thought this was a scummy move.
It was unnecessary.
I thought it was classless, to be honest with you, and like you said, unnecessary. So they went from there. They talked about the Morpheus a little bit, said that they had some demos there for people at the conference to play. And then Sean Layden came out, who is, I think he's the CEO or something in America. This guy is boring. He was drier than toast in the desert. You know, for lack of better words, he put me to sleep. He did the hardware portion of the conference, and I'm just going to breeze through everything that he showed.
Jack Trenton.
Okay.
Who was real good at the press conferences.
All right. So here my note says, hard to watch. I wanted to stop. And he starts his presentation off with, you got gamers, right? We're here to see the games. And how does he start his presentation off with? Metrics.
Yeah.
Over this many hours played.
That was not. They didn't like set him up to fail, but
oh no, they set him up, dog.
They shoehorned him in. So we gonna forget. Let's forget about that guy. What games did he talk about?
All right, so let me skip through. Let me just touch on what he talked about as far as hardware coming out for the PlayStation, because I think it's important. He talked about some of the peripherals and applications that's coming out. I'm gonna breeze them quick. YouTube is coming out later this year. You can now instantly upload your video gameplay to your YouTube channel. That's pretty cool. Twitch and Ustream, it allows you to actually interact with a player while they're playing their game. So if you're playing Call of Duty, I can kind of stand over your shoulder from my house and tell you, hey, don't do that. Go there. Do this. I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah. See? Yeah, that's the face I made too. Free to play.
Hey, what happened to, like, if you were playing the game, I could jump in and take over for you to help you get past a point?
I heard that.
Was that kind of that was from last year, but was this kind of like what they were?
I think this might be it. Yeah, this might be touching on that. Free to play. He mentioned that there's going to be 25 games coming out in the next 12 months, and he did again mention free to play, taking another dig at Microsoft. PlayStation Now is coming out. The open beta starts July 31st for the PlayStation 4. Also, with the DualShock 3 controller, you can actually use PlayStation Now if you have a Sony TV. That's hot.
But not the PS4 controller, though? That's weird to me. Oh, but it is a different Bluetooth technology. I remember them saying. So,
right. DualShock 3 is what he said. We talked about the PlayStation Vita, how you can use the PS Now catalog to play some of the games. And they have over 100 titles in development for the Vita. He talked about the PlayStation TV. This is his little box. It's probably about as big as your hand.
What did he say? Like a stack of something, two cell phones stacked together or something?
Yeah, it's not very big, but it has some cool features. It allows you to play your PlayStation 4 on a second TV in your house, which is cool. You could do music, PlayStation Now. You can play PS1 games, Vita games, PSP classics. At launch, there will be over 1,000 games available. And here's what's great about this. $99 is the cost of this thing, right? Then they had a bundle where you can get the DualShock 3 controller, HD cable, 8 gigs of memory, and the Lego Movie game. And that was $139. So I think this is kind of interesting. I don't know where to fit in somebody's house. Per se, if you already got a system, most people,
especially if you just got like the Kindle TV, the Fire TV.
Yeah. I guess they're just trying to get into that market. So, so that was Sean Layden. That was probably about 30 or 40 minutes of my life I can never get back. But again, he had to come out and do what he had to do. Now the conference finally gets cool again, and they bring out one of the coolest games I think is about to take place, and that's Mortal Kombat X. Now you sent me this trailer in a link probably about a week or so ago.
The teaser trailer, what they say, the announcement trailer.
Yeah, this is pure Mortal Kombat. It has all the blood, the gore, some new characters.
The new characters, finally. They got new. Man, that big brute dude.
You know who he was, right? You know who that was,
who was
right?
that? I didn't look into it.
You remember Mad Max and the Thunderdome? This is Master Blaster. This is where the midget was on the back of the big creature.
I don't.
What? Hold on. Wait.
Create a meme. Make a meme out of it.
He just said make a meme out of it.
Anyway,
you have this big oversized dude.
What was his name on there? I want to know.
They didn't give his name.
No, the character you was trying to tell me about.
Oh, Master Blaster is the name.
Got it.
Yeah, look up Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome, and there's a character similar to it. His name was Master Blaster. And Ladybug was the other character. So it's pure Mortal Kombat. It has all the fatalities and all the things that you love in this game. They just do some new stuff with it. It looked gorgeous too, graphic wise.
Yeah, I wanted to. I feel like how I feel about Mortal Kombat now, and this is their big next gen push, and just to find out that this Mortal Kombat is going to be on the previous gens is kind of a letdown for me, because when I look at the graphics and I think about this game, you got two characters on the screen at all times. And all of this is just a background behind them. So how come this game isn't just oozing with just the most gorgeous, like interactive, come to life environment possible? I feel
it's necessary for a fighting game.
I think to set itself apart, to finally say, look, let's make these guys look as fantastical as possible, not as real, but as fantastical as possible. I feel like it is necessary. Just show that horsepower for what these systems can really do. And this is a big opportunity for them. And if they don't do it, I feel like just graphically, they're going to miss it.
You know what you got me thinking? Is fantastical really a word? I have to look that up. So, but no.
Fantastic.
Are you Googling that?
I am.
Yeah, I think you just made
it. On the internet is a word. Dictionary. Yeah, Dictionary. Define fantastical. Yes.
Strange. Yes. I don't know, man. With the backgrounds in the fighting game, to me, unless they're interactive, it's not that important that they be fantastic. Because if you're stopping to watch the graphics, you're probably getting a fatality put on your ass.
I just wanted to just be grand. I always envisioned when they re-release. Wait
a minute. This is not the 8-bit person talking about he wants grand graphics, are you? You can't. No.
Well, I'm not gonna play an 8-bit Mortal Kombat game.
I hope they come back with 8-bit Mortal Kombat just for you.
I played the 16-bit and I had a good time with it though.
Well, no, 8-bit. 8-bit, just for you. Talking about you want fantastical graphics, making up words.
But it looked fun though. Mortal Kombat looked real good though. It looked real good.
It did. The next thing they offered was Sony came out with was something, of course, exclusive for their PlayStation 4, which it ought to be, which is Sony Picture Entertainment. Basically, they're going to start bringing all these Sony products, kind of like in a Netflix way, to the PlayStation 4. Again, to me, it's just one more company throwing their hat into the arena. But what's good about this is that you're going to probably get some better movies because Sony makes pretty good movies. They're also going to be doing some exclusive programming, so they're going to have their own shows. The first one coming out is called Powers. It's based on a comic book, a graphic novel. I'll let you go and look that up as far as getting more information on that. I just didn't think it was interesting because at the end, they slipped in that first episode to be free, which lets you know everything else after that is going to cost you money.
What was what was the big deal with that? They were saying that it's supposed to be that superhero type of because it's a cartoon, right? And it's supposed to be the superhero show that you always wanted. I'm like, I could have sworn I got X-Men, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Captain America.
Right.
I don't know. I wasn't sold on it. For me, I didn't feel like at this conference it was necessary for them to announce it. There's so many other conferences that Sony is involved in that they could have shown this in.
And I didn't think this fit into the gaming world, although they tried to say they're going to bring in programming just that's tailored toward gamers. But gamers have such a wide personality or palette of things that we like, man. I play with people now who've never seen Game of Thrones, and it just blows my mind.
Wow.
And you would think that that's right up a gamer's alley, and it just isn't. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I didn't think it belonged at this conference, but Sony again was pounding their chest and grabbing their nutsack. So why not introduce it? They talked about the PlayStation 4, and then they started hitting the big boys. First one was Last of Us. So I'm not sold on this, but what do you think about The Last of Us coming to PlayStation 4?
I didn't feel like it needed time at the E3 conference. I think it could have just been something that they shown on the E3 floor. It didn't have to be involved in the conference. Everybody kind of knew about it. And I think if you had a PlayStation 4, if all you got to do is put it front page whenever you turn the system on, as far as a new game coming out, or even
right,
you know, I don't know. It just did to me. That didn't have a place at the conference. It could be on the floor, but not the conference.
Right, and this was the second time they mentioned it in this conference. So I was kind of like, okay, we get it. It's your flagship game, won over 200 awards. It's coming out. We're gonna get it. I'm not gonna say the word money grab, but that's what comes to mind. And then the world stopped. The skies opened, and angels flew down playing harps.
Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
And the harps were playing the theme song to Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain. Jay, my notes simply say effing amazing. And then that's not even enough to describe this game. If you ever played the Metal Gear Solid games, take them all together, roll them into one, and then, put them out there. That's what this is. This just looks amazing, dog. It looks amazing.
But that's the thing you need. I feel like with this game, this game it could take a large piece of your soul if you try to go into it and play it. Right? If you never play any of the Metal Gear games, I feel like this game will lose you. It'll lose you. It's a lot. This is a lot to take in as a gamer who's never played a single Metal Gear Solid game. So
amazing.
It is. It is for people who are Metal Gear fans.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait for this game to come out, Jay. This game, and I was looking at first of all, they gave you a nice big chunk of trailer, and then you got to see. It
was about 4 minutes long.
But you got to see all of Snake's and his brothers, them training.
Yeah.
And if you pay attention, they even showed Ocelot shooting his pistol the way Ocelot does. Oh my God.
But again, if I've never played this game, I would have no clue what is going on. None.
If you never played this game, the way he tells his stories, they're standalone games because he gives you enough background information throughout the game to complete that particular game, that story. So you may say, okay, yeah, there's a whole world out there, but I don't think it's necessary. Just like if you went and saw some of the Marvel movies, they don't need to give you the background on every character in order for the movie to be successful.
But those are in 2-hour chunks compared to a game like this, which could looking at this game, it might be about a good 20, 25 hours. That's a lot of game to take in.
Which to me, it's a lot of game to take in. The games have always been long, and he's tried to cut them down. But to me, it just gives you more time to tell your story. This game, to me, is going to do Grand Theft Auto numbers.
Yeah, no, it's a big game. Not denying that. It's just the story is already confusing to follow. It's tons of huge wiki pages out there that shows you, okay, if you wanted to play Metal Gear and wanted to follow that story in order, what games do you play first? And they all over the place. That's just my only big problem with it. It's just you got it's so much you gotta figure out. You go constantly play the game and be like, okay, who is that? What's his importance? Who is that? You don't get a lot of what this character's true motive is, and maybe you don't need it. I just feel like this game, I think it's more of a fan service game than for them to just come out with that next big iteration of Metal Gear Solid.
Oh wow, I don't, man. I think this is the next step in the story. Again, I don't know, the way they've told the story in Metal Gear Solid is that it's almost like episodes that take place at different times, highlighting different characters at different points in their life, and that's why it is hard to follow. It's not very linear.
It's not, and that to me that kind of throws me off about the series,
and it can throw you off. I can see that, but as standalone games, I think they do well. So if you're going to buy this game, be ready for a challenge. I have not played a Metal Gear Solid game that does not challenge and push you as a gamer, especially when it comes to difficulty and all the things that you can do with this game. So
I did like that they said you could play the game two ways. You can go stealth, or you could just jump right in. It's supposed to be open world, and you could just dive right in. So that that's it makes it a little interesting. So we'll see.
Well, yeah, because they used to be all stealth and they used to be hella hard. So and they introduced this with the last one that you could just kind of play Rambo-ish and go for it.
What else?
After that, they showed GTA 5, which is unified in the category of Last of Us. Of course, they said there's going to be some stuff new for it. Only cool thing about GTA 5 on the PS4 is that, of course, you can bring your PS3 progress over, but all they're doing there is stopping a riot from happening. And before go ahead.
If you watch the trailer and then I kind of saw people do comparison screenshots, it made me think, and I wondered. I bet you that GTA 5 was made with the new generation in mind. I think like almost hand to hand, side to side. I feel like it was because
new generation of gaming consoles.
With the new consoles, because if you look at some of the side to sides, like especially like in the mountains and stuff, like on the PS3, it was all flat textures, like super flat textures, and in the PS4, they literally have like 2 feet tall grass leaves. Like to me, that takes just time to just manufacture and just actually go in and plug in. And I think it was in reverse. I think that they made the game, for the PS4 and the Xbox One initially first, and also just realizing for themselves that they were going to bring it out on the old gens. So not to bury the old gens, they staggered the release, and now we're getting to see it on the new consoles, and it looks really good. I mean, it looks real good.
I think you're right, Jay. That's probably how they did it. And again, they were smart not to hurt themselves by just saying PlayStation 4 only, because you already had a bunch of PS3s in people's houses already.
Yep, and they sold a ton. Like,
oh my God, they sold so many.
I'm looking at this trailer right now, and the part when they show the freeway and they show the traffic coming at you and they show the traffic going away from you, just the amount of cars that are there and just the lighting is amazing. Yeah. The lighting, I'm scared. I don't know if I'm gonna go back and dive back in, because it look now I'm like
welcome back.
Now right. So now do I put the cheat codes back in and get the rocket grenades and try to dive into the story? It looked real good and real tempting. Good job.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Rockstar.
One of the things I heard somebody mention was there's going to be wildlife on online player. There is a wildlife on online player now.
Oh, that's
big. Huge. The weather right now, it just rains, so you may get a little bit more dynamic weather in the game as well. Well, again, we'll have to see. I'm not. What they haven't told me yet.
Even with Franklin walking down the street, it's a whole bunch more people on the sidewalk. It looks probably 5 times more real. Than on the last gens. I'm excited.
Now that you mention it, I did see more cars in the traffic. So they probably did add a little bit more cars, more people, made the city a little bit livelier. But again, GTA to me, as good as the game it is, it continues to fail by not making their buildings more interactive. So other than like the 7-Eleven store,
back down to reality. Now, go back. No, I'm just joking. But it looked good. I saw it and I was like, okay, GTA. And then I actually went back and watched the trailer again and started to see comparison pictures online. And then that's when you see the difference. You can the reality of the difference comes to play. And I'm like, all right, it looked good. They pushed hard on it.
Okay, the next game after that was Batman Arkham Knight.
Woo!
Woo! Let me get my woo out too, dog. Woo!
Okay, before we say anything,
okay,
this is why it's meant for next gen. Did you see at the very end of the trailer when they zoomed in on the Scarecrow's face, the amount of the amount of detail. Look at my face. The amount of detail that was in the Scarecrow, like you could see the saliva and the strings moving in his mouth, and then he had a milkiness about his eyes. That's amazing.
Yes.
I'm like, wow. And then you see your boy take the Batmobile, turns it into tank mode. He hitting the
corners.
Brother,
preach.
Oh my goodness. Mm-hmm. So here's what they promised, right? No more CG cutscenes, right? So when they first showed the trailer cutscene and this Batman in this suit, and you're like, oh, this is a cutscene. And then that bad boy zoom out and that fool jump off.
Now, when he jumped off and they gave you the view of the city.
Right. Did you see how far out it went?
It was huge. It was huge, but it was gorgeous, Jay. This city popped. Dog. This game just looked, I mean, it was a different word than amazing. It looked fantastical. Folks.
Dude, this is easily one of my top 5 E3 games right now.
No, dog. This one right here, dog. Let me think before I say it. This is number 2 because Metal Gear Solid is number 1.
Okay.
Actually, this is 1A for me.
Okay.
I love Batman Arkham Asylum. I think that's the one I played. Actually, I played them both. Oh my God. This game is awesome.
Dude,
it's fantastical.
This is creme de la creme right here. This is I think this
Rocksteady
is
did their thing.
They're going out with a bang, and
right.
Then when he jumped out of the Batmobile, swooped around, landed on the above ledge, and then he did that new combat system where the new takedown system where you jump down and you can slow-mo take out 2 to 3 guys at one time. I was like,
yes. Hey, now this was what I thought interesting. So after he hemmed up the Penguin and the screen started messing up on purpose, I thought your boy was gonna show up.
Who? Don't say the Joker. No,
I thought the Joker was gonna show up.
If the Joker would have showed up, I would have turned it off.
Really?
I'm jokered out, man.
Like when you initially saw that trailer, you weren't expecting that to be the Joker?
I didn't want it to be the Joker. And they specifically said the Joker is not in this game. He's not in this game.
But the Scarecrow was in the previous game, so what's the difference?
But there's still another character to worry about in this game, and it's the Arkham Knight. The Arkham Knight isn't named after Batman. That's the name that's named after a character that they officially created with DC, and it was for the game. It's called the Arkham Knight. It's that
because I'm sitting here going through my Memodex, my roller mind, and I can't.
He's like this. They haven't really said too much, but he looked like this just cyborgish version of Batman.
So it's going to give Batman a challenge, which is excellent.
Yep.
Which is excellent. Okay, and then they close out the show with, of course, the game that I think everybody has
the best looking game at E3.
Yeah,
the best looking. What looked better than this?
Batman looked great.
Batman looked great. Batman looked great, but what looked okay? Well, all right, wrong choice. The most realistic looking game at E3. What looked more realistic than this? Oh, we're talking about Uncharted 4. We should tell the people Uncharted 4. What looked more realistic? Just not better graphics, just realistic than Uncharted 4.
I'm gonna tell you what did. Last of Us did for the PlayStation 4.
Nah.
Without question. Yes.
This looked more realistic than The Last of Us. No.
Oh gosh. Maybe by the same people, you do realize that, right?
Yeah.
Using the same engine.
Yeah, but this is the real. This is.
I think you're biased.
No, absolutely
not. You are.
No
yes,
way.
You are.
No way. No.
That's some bias I hear, buddy.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not taking anything away from The Last of Us. Not the remake, but I'm just saying the realism, just that realistic touch that they had on this game.
Well, let me ask you this: with the name of with the title being A Thief's End, do you think this is the last we will see of Drake?
By this original Naughty Dog crew, yes. They said it.
Okay.
They said this is their last. I saw it on Twitter today that they said this is their last little.
Well, let me close the show by saying this to Naughty Dog. Just make this the last one, period. Let's not hand this off to another studio who's going to screw up what you guys have done.
That's not up to them. I wish it was up to them, but that's
okay. But I'm talking.
That's Sony.
excuse me, I'm talking to Naughty Dog right now, and they can give this to Sony. So your games have been fantastical. They just have. And
that's
what
10
I mean,
cents. 5 cents every time you use that word. So
with his fantastical gameplay. If you're gonna end it. Don't give it to another studio. Sony, don't go for the cash grab. You got 3 out of 4 games that are excellent. Just let them be. Let them be. Let Drake die. If you're gonna come back into the Uncharted world, come back with a female character. Come back with a kid. Come back with something different. But don't bring Drake back.
Okay, so if we got Uncharted 5, but with a different lead character.
No. Don't even put Uncharted in the title.
They not that name brand is strong. They're not getting rid of that. They'll do a different character, but they're not getting rid of Uncharted.
Okay, then if you need to use Uncharted so you can get name brand recognition, I get that. Do it. Don't do Uncharted 5. Don't make this into Assassin's Creed, who has 12, 13, I think they're on their 14th iteration of a dude running around in his pajamas with a knife. At some point, you just kill your franchise. You kill the market by saturating. And I just felt like that. Uncharted is such a pure, perfect, fantastical series that let's just end it right. Like we need to end this show.
But see, the difference with them is it's not every year. It's been either every 2 years or every 3. So I don't think they ringing that franchise out. I just think that they're continuing with it.
I'm done. I didn't want to do this show to begin with. You made me do it. We got to Uncharted, The Last of Us. Listen, just like Uncharted should be done, this podcast should be done. Sony, if the Power Pellet podcast had a grading scale 1 through 5, you would be at a 1.5 at best. Even the games that you showed, which were excellent, which may even be exclusive to your console, was not enough to save the conference itself. I think you guys need to go back to the drawing board and look at whatever you did that was good, which is going to be hard to find, and just come with something different. Get some different presenters. They were boring. They were dry. They had on suits with like gold cufflinks. To me, they didn't connect with the gamers at all. It was just so, yeah. This wasn't a top-notch conference for me. And I even saw some other websites saying Sony won the conference.
Yeah, well, everybody got an opinion.
Yeah, well, mine is what matters. So, Jay, do you have any?
I get a conference. I think it was a C plus. I give it a C plus. It wasn't the worst. C plus will get you past and it'll get you by next year.
I think that I don't know where the plus is coming from. Give it a C. It was average at best.
Yeah, right. C plus, average. Yeah, the best average.
All right, listeners, this has been a amazing, fantastical show. We will bring you Nintendo next if we can. As you can hear, I'm tired. I'm really tired. I cannot imagine going to all these conferences in person.
I would love it. I'd be walking around like a little zombie, but I'd be loving it.
I'm an old zombie. But hopefully we'll do Nintendo, and then I'm not sure what we're going to do about EA. I don't know how you want to handle that.
Well,
man.
I think Nintendo didn't have too much to it that I really feel like we got to take a whole hour like we did with this and Xbox. I think what we should do live on the air, I think what we should do, just throwing it out there, we could do Nintendo and we can mix in EA kind of in the mix and just anything else that we saw or kind of just might pop his little head out during E3.
Okay. Well, there you have it. So the next show we'll touch on Nintendo and what they had to show. Zelda, of course, was something that's kind of floating around out there that I've heard some things about. I heard EA has some big stuff to announce as well, but we're going to bring that to you on the next show. I want to thank you all for listening. My name is AkimboMerc. You can find me on Facebook. You can find the show on Facebook, Power Pellet Podcast. Check it out. I update the page daily. We're also on Twitter. I'm also going to drop these YouTube shows for y'all today. So we're out to Jay, Davench, Toonami.
Power Pellet Podcast on Twitter. And then also you can find me personally on Twitter, Davench Toonami.
But they're not looking for you personally, sir.
Personally, if you want to just me personally.
That's a fantastical find if they find you.
You need more fantastical words in your mouth, in your life.
This is rated G.
In your life, fantastical.
Thank you. Don't put anything fantastical in your mouth.
Power Pellet Podcast.
Only amazing.
So we see y'all back episode 8.
I didn't want to do this show. I didn't want to do it.